Before I start with boycotting New York, I forgot to mention for the military organizations, notify them, such as Disabled American Veterans, American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Vietnam Veterans of America, the Elks Lodge, any other veterans organization. If you're a member of them, call them. Tell them they need to stand up and boycott New York State and to help expose the corruption and the dishonesty of these judges and what they are doing to our veterans, stripping you of your constitutional rights. Now for the presentation. Governor Cuomo, you have ordered the boycott of North Carolina, Mississippi, because you don't like their laws. You don't like it that North Carolina ordered that men are to use men's rooms, ladies are to use ladies' rooms. You want men to be able to just walk in, I'm transgender. If you have 3 males in front of you, naked, how do you tell which one is heterosexual, which one is gay, and which one is transgender? You can't tell the difference. But that's all right. It doesn't make any difference. They should be able to walk into ladies' rooms, ladies' locker rooms, walk into showers. Same with kids in schools. You want a unisex, from what I see, a unisex school where 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds, boys and girls can all shower together. That's what you're looking for. So you call for a boycott. All the states should boycott New York. New York State has stripped its citizens of their constitutional rights, as fully documented on my website, www.justicefornewyork.com. I have documented the New York State Family Court is closed to the public, even though the statute requires it to be open. People are being sentenced to jail in these closed court proceedings. The Constitution isn't being followed. New York State Constitution, Article 6, Section 13 is very specific, stating the family court shall consist of judges, and then it states how the appointment or election of judges is to take place. It makes no mention of hearing examiners, now support magistrates, or judicial hearing officers that are being used in violation of the state constitution. New York State, with their horrendous penalties for not paying child support, requires a person to be entitled to a jury trial. There are no jury trials in New York State in family court. A court of proper jurisdiction. The Court of Appeals makes a ruling that family court doesn't have jurisdiction because it is a court of limited jurisdiction to enforce or modify separation agreement. They do it anyway. That's okay. They can do whatever they want, no matter what the law states. These judges are out of control. Every state needs to boycott New York. Not every major league athletic association, whether it be the baseball, the NFL, the NBA, who boycotted also, I believe, North Carolina because of their law, the NCAA, which canceled their games there, and New York Senator Schumer tried to get them to come up here. The National Hockey League, any other sports need to boycott New York, whether it's racing or whatever. Especially what should be boycotted is the Belmont and Saratoga racetracks. All these organizations are supporting the illegal actions in New York State. They're worried about a transgender person going in and taking showers with their, well, they don't care, I should say. The ones that want to boycott, like Cuomo. Explain. How do you tell the difference between a heterosexual, a gay, and a transgender person when they're standing in front of you? You can't. They don't care this is how they denigrate and abuse women. They're all for that. Why would they want, these organizations want their wives? They get done at the gym and somebody comes in and a male comes in and says, I'm transgender. He wants to change with them. He wants to shower with them. Children in schools. Why do these organizations? They'll fight for that. Why? I don't know. Why would you want your daughters involved in something like having boys in the school coming in and taking showers with the girls? That's what the Democrats are looking to do, is put this out there that this is great. It's not great. The kids don't want it, and parents certainly shouldn't want it happening. But that's okay, according to Cuomo and the others. He wants you to boycott states that believe that men should use men's rooms and ladies should use ladies' rooms. But it's all right to strip the citizens of New York State of their constitutional rights to a public trial, a jury trial, a court of proper jurisdiction. That's okay. Judges that are fixing cases left and right. Every family court judge is violating the law. Their courtrooms are closed in violation of state statute and federal law. Every one of these judges that sentence somebody to jail in family court has deprived them of a jury trial. And I'm talking kids that get brought in before the court. You know, the 9, 10, 12, 13-year-olds that are juveniles. They're going to detention for 6 months or a year or several years, depending on what they did. They're deprived of their constitutional right to a jury trial. They're a citizen of the United States. Where does it say in the Constitution that the constitutional rights only apply to people over age 18 or 21? It doesn't. Everybody needs to boycott New York. All these sports organizations, they are supporting terrorism. Everybody needs to boycott these organizations because they support terrorism, because they come to this state and they're making money here, probably donating money too. It's got to stop. Until Governor Cuomo orders Attorney General Snyderman to have these judges removed, any judge that has sent anybody to jail and deprived them of their right to a public trial needs to be arrested and put in jail, which is probably all the family court judges, or most all of them. Any judge that's held a trial, the family court judge, whether the support magistrate or hearing examiner, whatever you want to call them, need to be, or a judicial hearing officer holding trials in violation of New York state law because they're not authorized under the state constitution, which, as I stated before, is very specific. They all need to be arrested and put in jail. These judges that issue these court orders, like in my case, in Peter's case, they're all on my website, justicefornewyork.com, that do not comply with the law, where they are defrauding people, that are making them order to pay more than their incomes, leaving somebody with $10 a week, like Kramer. $10 a week he leaves the guy with. And out of that he still has to pay uncovered medical expenses and stuff like that. He loses his job. Kramer belongs in jail. He was involved in my case. As far as I'm concerned, he's a child abuser. The 14-year-old girl that documented how she was abused by the court system. And they were keeping her father away from her because they wanted to extort stuff out of her father. This is what New York State is like. Go to my website. It's going to fully document everything. And then call up all the courts, whatever county you're in, and tell them they are acting in violation of the law, and in your opinion, and you have the right to your opinion, it should be closed down. Also, call Governor Cuomo's office. Tell him to do something about it. And these attorneys that are involved in these illegal actions, they also need to be arrested. I know. They'd have to open up a whole new penitentiary to put all these judges and attorneys in that are violating your rights. It's easier just to cover it up. It can't be covered up anymore. Everybody needs to boycott New York. People shouldn't be bringing in teams from out of state to play in New York when New York strips its citizens of their constitutional rights. The Racing Association shouldn't be bringing horses to Belmont and to Saratoga because New York is stripping its citizens of their constitutional rights. Let Governor Cuomo feel what it's like to have a state boycotted. He thinks it's funny. He thought that was a great move on his part. Let's show him what a good move is until he cleans it up. And he needs to address the issues. I've been deprived of my rights by and it's the federal judges just as well. They're just as corrupt, covering up for New York State. And until these judges are removed from the bench and arrested and put in jail for depriving people of their constitutional rights. And you know what's going to happen? They're probably going to try to pull the same trick they did the first time I wrote a letter demanding my constitutional rights. And that is, they put a hit out on me. I demand my constitutional rights. They charged me with aggravated harassment in Albany County. They wouldn't investigate the information I gave them in my letter about the corruption, the illegal court proceedings, the denial of public trials, jury trials. It took me 4 years to get a public trial. I couldn't get a jury trial. Oh no, that's not going to happen. It got dismissed. But what did they do? They claimed I was despondent and possibly armed with one or more fully automatic weapons. I was told that was basically a shoot-to-kill order on me. That's what New York State does to people who want to stand up and fight for their constitutional rights. New York needs to be boycotted now. The governors of all these states need to stand up and tell New York, clean up your act. Now. So let these organizations know they're not wanted in New York if they're going to be, and boycott them. Boycott New York. Another venue that needs to be boycotted is the Times Union Center. Nobody should go there. The Times Union states in a paper, State Court, a liberal bastion, referring to the Court of Appeals. It states, Andrew Cuomo and his late father Mario Cuomo are about to have something else in common besides both serving as governor. They will be only state executives to have selected all sitting members of the New York State's highest court. And unlikely, it says the new all-Cuomo court will provide a chance for this governor to leave a legal imprint through decisions affecting New Yorkers for years to come. Let's look at the other judges appointed by Mario and Andrew to the Court of Appeals. I've already gone over Judge Simmons. I had a constitutional right to appeal to the Court of Appeals because I was being denied my right to a public trial, a jury trial, a court of proper jurisdiction, and I challenged like 9 to 12 state statutes that are unconstitutional. He states, I raised issues other than the constitutionality of the state statutes. And I'm told I have to take his word for it, even though I stated the only issues on appeal were the constitutionality of these 12 state statutes. Appointed by Mario Cuomo. Littman, allowing my phones to be recorded illegally, and that thousands of businesses in New York and across this country are being ripped off by a company called Yodel, which I fully documented. And I'm fined $100 because I protest against the corruption and my phone calls being intercepted and recorded when I told them not to. Then you have Judge Kay, who ruled that the right to a public trial in New York State is not a substantial right. This is all on my website. That she ruled that the right to a jury trial, when the potential penalty exceeds 6 months in jail or a $5,000 fine, you're not entitled to a jury trial. That's not a substantial right in New York State. Have a judge who has the authority to rule on the matter is not a substantial right. You have no rights in New York State. And then you have Rosenberg, who covered up the corruption. He just got nominated. He's going in with a bunch of liberals, which he was. He was appointed by Pataki. But he's got to work with these people. So he's going to take the same position as theirs. And what I love is, in the same article, Bonaventure's view. Cuomo has so far put forward together a coherent, capable court of appeals that includes jurors with both Democratic and Republican backgrounds, as well as those with experience in both law enforcement and defendants' rights. Yeah, they know how to throw out defendants' rights. He also worked to build ethnic and geographical diversity in the court. Another venue that needs to be boycotted is the Times Union Center in Albany. The Times Union, in a recent court article, stated, Andrew Cuomo and his late father, Mario Cuomo, are about to have something else in common, besides both serving as governor. They will be only state executives to have selected all sitting 7 members of the New York State's highest court. The all-new Cuomo court will provide a chance for this governor to leave a legal imprint through decisions affecting New Yorkers for years to come. And it will doubly important this year, given the likelihood that Republican President-elect Donald Trump will appoint a conservative tie-breaking 9th member to the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, here's the kicker one. New York, by and large, can always provide more protection of rights and liberties than the U.S. Supreme Court does, said Vincent Bonaventure, an Albany Law School professor and noted court watcher. In Bonaventure's view, Cuomo has so far put together a coherent, capable court of appeals that includes jurists with both Democratic and Republican backgrounds, liberal Republican backgrounds, who are probably more Democrat than they are Republican, as well as those with experience in both law enforcement and defendants' rights. They strip us of our rights, as I've fully documented on my website with Saul Greenberg. I did a complete video on Saul Greenberg, Christopher Horn, James Dixon, and Federal Judge Thomas McAvoy on how they're stripping defendants in criminal proceedings of their constitutional rights, and it's being covered up. He has always worked to build ethnic and geographic diversity on the court. What about an honest court? One that is not corrupt. You know, the Times Union Center needs to be boycotted until Governor Cuomo and the state legislature get rid of these corrupt family court judges, have them arrested and put in jail for denying their rights to the people before them.